Welcome and thank you for joining us. It's Wednesday, July 3rd. You're watching News 2 on VIA Channel 4 and 504. I'm Leslie Kamisi-Young. Topping our stories tonight, on July 3rd, 1848, the enslaved in the Virgin Islands fought and won their freedom. On this same day, residents on St. Croix mobilized to support Bernard Cuffey and view the removal of boulders placed to stop Mr. Cuffey from accessing his property. Mr. Cuffey was taken to court by several of his neighbors, but won the case even though his neighbors tried to use wealth and clout to intimidate him.
St. Croix residents gathered this Emancipation Day to give support to Bernard Cuffey. A group entitled Mobilize St. Croix pondered on how they can assist Mr. Cuffey, but found that small gestures could produce big impacts.
We saw the story and we were just like, we have to do something. We didn't really know exactly what, but we were like, we have to do something. So we got together, we said we're gonna just have to have presence, and Shanari said it best. Tell them what you said to us.
So she was talking about protesting and having a demonstration, and I said, I don't know that, our people get down with the protesting, but the power of our presence is everything. Sometimes we don't have to rah-rah, just being there is enough.
About 30 residents and supporters at the Lorraine Shopping Center caravaned to Mr. Cuffey's Claremont property and met more support. To Mr. Cuffey's surprise, the boulders that were placed by his neighbors to stop him from accessing his property were already being moved.
Right now, did you expect that they would be moving the boulders today?
No, I had no idea that they would move the boulders today until early this morning I found out.
Bernard Cuffey stated that he purchased number 38 Claremont in 2017 to gift to his son that has begun his own family. In April of this year, Mr. Cuffey stated that he informed his neighbors that he would be clearing the land that provides access to his property. But after receiving an invitation to a get-together organized by his neighbors, Mr. Cuffey found himself in an awkward position when his neighbors tried to get him to sign documents stopping him from utilizing an overgrown right-of-way.
How important is for people to have knowledge of property rights here in the Virgin Islands?
Well, it's very important because, we have children who are coming in after us, and it's important for them to be taught, their rights, and so that, another person is not telling them or manipulating them into believing what they want them to do. It's always good to know the truth.
There were 9 plaintiffs that filed a case against Mr. Cuffey, including the inhabitants of Plot 6. Through documents provided to TV2, the plaintiffs utilized their wealth and public stature to try to intimidate Mr. Cuffey into selling them his land. One plaintiff is a realtor and may have broken Virgin Islands Realtors ethics codes.
The Board of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, and their grievance committee has to be approached.
Yes.
And once that's done, it will definitely put a halt on a lot of her activities. Sotheby's, since that's who she's associated with, would have to be engaged as well, and civil action can, that's another step.
For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Over $2,000 were raised on social media to assist Bernard Cuffey with his legal fees. Mr. Cuffey and his wife say they plan to match the funds raised to provide assistance to others that may be experiencing similar land disputes. While many across the United States and its territories are preparing for the 4th of July, today, July 3rd, marks a very important holiday here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's the 171st anniversary of the emancipation of the enslaved African people in the Danish West Indies. 14 years before slaves were emancipated in the United States, the enslaved on St. Croix banded together and coordinated an uprising. They were the second island in the Caribbean after Haiti to demand their freedom and set the precedents for emancipation throughout the Caribbean. In a release issued Tuesday, Lieutenant Governor Roach said the celebration of Emancipation Day, July 3rd, 1848, is an intrinsically beautiful celebration of freedom, but it is also an occasion to recognize the horrors of that enslavement and the tremendous sacrifices made by the ancestors in the quest for freedom and liberty. Former Senator and current Commissioner of Agriculture, Positive T.A. Nelson, leads an annual Fort to Fort walk on St. Croix, and we caught up with him to get his thoughts on this day.
I want to congratulate everyone who did the Fort to Fort Walk to Freedom this morning, the Emancipation Day Fort to Fort Walk to Freedom. This was the 19th annual walk. The crowd was a very good crowd, a decent crowd. It's hard to calculate the numbers. We perhaps had at least maybe 150 to 200 people at the start. I can't tell you how many people actually accumulated during the walk, and the numbers were big. But this walk is significant. It's the day that we have set aside to give reverence and honor to the efforts of the enslaved Africans at the time who then came together to force Governor General Peter Van Schulten to give the Emancipation Proclamation. So we think it to be of a day of significance. What we do, I believe, is very important because we are bringing remembrance and reverence to the efforts of those who did it back then. And in today's society, we encourage others to just stand up against other type of oppression or seeing others being taken advantage of, to step in and do what's right because it is the right thing to do, even when no cameras are there, even when no money is involved, even when no honor or recognition is given. But we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. So I feel I'm honored to have done it. This is the 19th time. Of course, my body is saying something else to me right now, but my heart and my mind is so content knowing that we did this again in remembrance of those individuals who stood up in 1848 here in the Virgin Islands.
Juan Luis Hospital executives came before the Senate Finance Committee on Tuesday to defend their fiscal year 2020 budget request, which is $39.9 million. And lawmakers were taken aback by their losses because of uncompensated care, which equated to $39.8 million, virtually equal to their budget needs for the fiscal year. Governor Bryan himself is recommending only $22 million for each of the territory's hospitals. Uncompensated care, which are services rendered that remain unpaid for various reasons, continue to plague the territory's healthcare facilities, not just the Juan Luis Hospital. Finance Committee Chairman Senator Kurt Violet said a large part of the problem with uncompensated care is violence in the community. Hospital officials, meanwhile, say they're looking at legal and legislative options to go after individuals who do not pay for their services. Here's more from that hearing.
And we just continue to turn our heads and just act like this has become a norm and it's supposed to be accepted. Last week Sunday, Juan Luis was so busy with all the stuff that took place on this island, to include the gunshot victims that were transported to the hospital. The next day, those gunshot victims were flown out of Juan Luis to the mainland at a cost that is going to more than likely be borne by the hospital. What is the cost of one of those Medivac, CEO? Or Ms. Moorhead, what's the cost? Is it $25,000?
It varies, but if they are going to the States and depending on their injury, it could be about $22,000 to $25,000.
Okay, so on Monday, we spent $50,000 to airlift 2 gunshot victims from the Virgin Islands. As long as the violence continues in this community, we're endangering the entire island. We're accumulating a tremendous amount of unnecessary costs because of these individuals that believe they're God and just shooting each other.
As far as recouping from the victims, there is the possibility for a garnishment in the future, but of course those individuals tend not to use bank accounts, so that's usually not an option. There is an opportunity to also sue them through the use of small claims court, but of course, usually those individuals are to catch up with. So we are in a bit of a quandary as far as pursuing those individuals for those very high healthcare costs, but we are absolutely making efforts.
Turning our attention to the crime report, John Cutter Moses, who is wanted by police for escaping from custody, has been arrested after he held 2 minor girls against their will and tried to take them to a private residence. According to police, on July 1st, officers were dispatched to a reported kidnapping in the hometown gas station area on St. Thomas. 2 minor females, ages 11 and 14, reported that while walking to the hometown service station, an unknown black male later identified as Moses approached them in an olive green colored SUV and verbally forced them to get into his vehicle by threatening to hurt them if they didn't. Moses took the girls to the store, told them to get some snacks for themselves and a bottle of Heineken for him, which he paid for. He then took them to the Anna's Retreat residential area, where they got out of the vehicle and ran. While the female minors were with their parents making the report at the hometown service station, Moses returned to the scene where he was apprehended, but he managed to escape from custody with handcuffs still on. The following day, around 3:30 p.m., police arrested Moses again in Estate Wintberg without incident. He was charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, escape from custody, and possession of a stolen vehicle. Bail was set at $75,000. Moses was unable to post bail and was remanded to the Bureau of Corrections pending his advice of rights hearing. Stick around, your Caribbean News Report is coming up next, plus Vitima stopped by the studio to get the word out on hurricane preparedness. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're officially in hurricane season, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, has predicted a near normal Atlantic hurricane season this year. Local and federal agencies are trying to make sure that whatever the hurricane season brings, Virgin Islanders are prepared. Gary Green, Public Information Officer of the Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency, or VITEMA, stopped by our studios to stress the importance of taking preparedness steps and what those are. Here's more.
As you know, the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season is underway. We want you to be safe. VITEMA recommends that you plan and prepare based on the special needs of your household. Begin by building a kit. Ensure that items in your kit would include non-perishable foods, water, medical supplies, as well as any dietary foods and medical supplies for all residents in your household. Consider the special needs of elderly, children, as well as pets. And of course, harden your homes. We recommend that you assess your property, clear trees, shrubs. If there's coconut trees, branches, make sure you trim them. Supervise your property as well as look out for your neighbors. Make sure porches, decks, and sheds are secure. Protect your important documents by securing them in a watertight container. Make sure that you secure your important documents such as your birth certificate, your social security cards, your home insurance policies, as well as your personal and medical insurance policies. Once again, you know the special needs of your household. You know the unique conditions based on your experiences with the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season, Hurricanes Irma and Maria.
Turning our attention to our Caribbean neighbors, Dominica is getting serious about cars running on renewable energy. The island nation is looking into policies that would govern the sale and use of solar-powered and electric cars in their country. Here's more on that story.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Scarrett says talks are ongoing to formulate the policy which will be in the best interest of citizens.
We're also looking and discussing with stakeholders the possibility of articulating a policy in respect to electric vehicles for Dominica, and looking at the tax regime and to see how can we facilitate a greater interest by our citizens utilizing electric cars in Dominica, ensuring that we can reduce on the cost of it, With regards to the taxation,
The focus on electric vehicles will be an added boost to Dominica's image in the international arena.
and I believe that if we're able to agree as a nation on this, this would mean a tremendous boost for our image globally as a small nation. Because we saw the tremendous international coverage we got in respect to the banning of styrofoam containers. And I must tell you, we did not pay for anybody to write these articles for us. They were organically prepared and disseminated. So we're going to be moving towards the policy of facilitating the introduction or the prevalence of electric cars in Dominica.
Now remember, tomorrow, Thursday, July 4th, is a holiday, and VIA, the parent company of TV2, will be joining the nation in observing this federal holiday, marking the nation's independence. All VIA offices will be closed on Thursday, July 4th, and resume normal business hours on Friday, July 5th. Thursday is also a big day for St. John Festival 2019. On Thursday, 3 events back-to-back, starting with the 2019 Juve at 4 a.m. Then the festival parades begin at 11 a.m. There will be beautiful performances and costumes, as well as great music that parade goers have come to expect over the years. And the festival delivers. The parade on St. John features children and adults all in one parade. Then at 9 p.m. you can head over to the harbor and enjoy the fireworks. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
And a very good evening to you. We're talking about the Caribbean, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Really pretty stuff right now. Weather-wise, there has been a few clouds and also some spot showers, but overall the pattern looks good. Considering for this time of year, the tropics remain rather quiet. Now, further out towards the Pacific, whole different story there with Hurricane Barbara. It's expected to weaken. But for us, on a local scale, we're looking okay. And you can see the closer image here, anywhere around the leewards up towards, say, Puerto Rico, St. John's. Everybody here featuring just very nice weather with the occasional shower that may bubble up over the next couple of days. Now, as we kind of zip on out further towards the south and to the east, of course, we always watch any waves of energy or any storm complexes that come off of African coast here. Again, that's where we watch any of that development. As of right now, everything is pretty quiet, just some typical waves coming out from the African coast. Temperatures for tonight into the upper 70s, mainly clear though. We'll see maybe a passing cloud or two, but aside from that, drier conditions. Shower in spots for the day of tomorrow. We'll see those daytime highs once again into the upper 80s. Again, overall, St. John looking at pretty nice weather. St. Thomas, more of the same, upper 80s, a shower or two. Let's do it again, third time, right? Broken record here into the upper 80s around St. Croix with a shower or two in the area. As for the waters, take note though, pretty choppy out there, 3 to 6 feet, 3 to 5, but up to 6 at times for the Atlantic side. Winds coming in out of the east pretty strong at up to 25 knots. And out on the Caribbean side, 3 to 5, could be a little choppy at times, so watch out if you have a small boat. Winds here upwards of 25 knots. Now, as we look forward, we're talking about the Saharan dust that is coming in from the Saharan desert, and a lot of it continues to be pretty heavy over the next couple of days, and what that will do is reduce the visibility, making for some hazy sunshine. So over the next couple of days, aside from hazy sunshine, chance of a shower or two with temps into the upper 80s.
Thank you for that. Coming up next, News 2 Sports with Gary Anthony. We'll be right back.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. The FIFA 2019 Women's World Cup has turned into a spectacular showcase for Team USA, who defeated England in the semifinals yesterday 2-1. There's been some controversy surrounding Team USA. They've been so dominant that some consider them arrogant. Perhaps, but when you can walk the walk, so be it. Playing without top scorer Megan Rapinoe, who sat out with a hamstring injury, the USA scored first on this header by Christine Press. England tied it up with this goal by Ellen White in the 31st minute. USA retook the lead with this header by Alex Morgan, and then she took a sip from an imaginary teacup. Yep, some folks are not pleased with that. In the second half, England thought they had tied it up, but the goal was disallowed due to an offsides penalty. Later, goalie Alyssa Nair stones the penalty kick to preserve the victory and a date in the World Cup finals on Sunday with either Sweden or the Netherlands. Closer to the soccer pitch at home, congratulations to the USVI Under-15 national boys team, who took down St. Martin Under-15 boys team 5-1 in an international friendly match at Lionel Roberts Stadium on Monday. Jared White led the way with 2 goals, and Carlos Hennen, Amir Otley, and Ethan Smith added 1 goal apiece. And sticking with soccer, mark your calendars because the USVI Soccer Association is presenting the Olympics qualifying round at St. Croix's Bethlehem Soccer Complex from July 17th through July 21st. Teams from the USVI, Cuba, and Barbados will be competing. Moving on to the NBA free agency bank-o-rama, with most of the A and B list free agents committed, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, and Al Horford, only 2019 Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard remains uncommitted. The Toronto Raptors superstar is getting major love from the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers to leave Toronto and come home out west. Many believe that the longer he waits, the more likely he is to head to the California sunshine. Personally, I like to see him stay in Toronto to defend his title, but so far, dude hasn't called me for advice. That's it for sports. Have a fantastic 4th of July, and if you're going to see live fireworks, please leave your dogs at home. It's best for them and for you. Leslie, back to you.
Thank you for that, and that's it for our show tonight. We're live on Facebook and YouTube and on via Channel 4 and 504 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Follow us on social media, tag us on any stories you want to see on the news, or send us a message on Messenger. You can also email us at newsdirector@tv2.vi. Thanks again for joining us on News 2. I'm Leslie Camisiang. Enjoy the rest of your Emancipation Day. We'll see you next time.